Welcome to Who's Attacking Me Now, Part 3. We have the objectives for our application, what we want to get done. And then we've identified, well, what are the individual pieces of this program that we have to master to make this thing happen? And in Part 3, we're going to limit what we're trying to do. We're going to start out, we'll read a text file, that's the log file that has all this nasty information in it. And we're going to look at each line and see if we can identify an attack. Here's what the file looks like. It's over 350,000 lines, and it can make you blind just looking at it. So, for example, failed password for root. That's like an indicator of an attack. That's the sort of thing that we're going to look for. The next step is to open idle. Okay, we've got idle open, and we've created a new file which we call who.py. That's our program file. It's in the folder Mark on Python, and if we go into that folder, we'll see too that here's where our log file is. We want to open this log file and read it one line at a time. And our program file doesn't show the .py extension because well-known file extensions are hidden by the operating system, but Windows shows you that it understands this is a Python file by displaying the Python logo. Okay, so back to our program. This is the file that we want to open. We're going to use the open command, and we need to create a connection to this file. We're going to use a variable, let's call him FP for file pointer. Equals open. The name of the file, auth.log.1. It's case sensitive, so if it's lowercase, it needs to be lowercase, uppercase, whatever. It's got to exactly match the file name. We don't have to provide a full path to it, so we don't have to provide c:/this/that, because the file is in the same directory as our program. Doing it that way allows us to do relative addressing. Makes things a little simpler. Okay, so a file is just a sequence of lines. A text file is just a sequence of lines, meaning that line 2 comes after line 1. The for loop loves sequences. All right, so we use a for loop to read this file. And we need a variable. We're reading lines, so we'll make the for loop variable line. We use the in keyword and then the sequence, which is FP. Okay, now there's an old saying in programming called garbage in equals garbage out. And we want to make sure that we're not reading, or that we're not working with garbage here, that we're actually reading what we think we're reading. And we can use the print statement for that. Print is an awesome debug tool. So we'll put this in here temporarily. We just want to prove to ourselves that we are actually reading the file. We'll then unindent to get out of the for loop, and we'll close our file. That's best practice. Okay, let's run this thing and see what we have. Okay, so it's a big file. I'm going to Control-C because I don't have the patience to wait for this whole thing to complete. And is that our log file? Well, let's take a look at our log file. It sure looks like it. It's got the same kind of information there. It does, however, give us an extra line break. There are no blank lines in between the lines in the log file. By the way, the stuff on the left here are just line numbers provided by Genie. They're not actually in the log file. Okay, so the way text files work is each line is terminated with a line break. Otherwise, the file would just be one humongously long line and you have to scroll all over the place. And in Python, with Python, the print statement also provides a line break. So we're getting 2 line breaks here for every line. So there's a couple ways you can fix that. The best way is to simply strip the line break off, and you can do that with the string method called strip. Line.strip will take the white space off the end of the line. and then the result will be stored in the variable. So it'll overwrite what was in the variable before. All right, let's see what we get now. There we go. So no more extra line break. We have exactly what we want. I mean, you are seeing line wrapped here, but that's different than line break. Okay, now what we need to do is see if we can identify an attack. Okay, so we take a look at the log file that we're reading, and we see failed password here for root. That's an attack. So as we read each line, we can look in the line, and if we see failed password, we'll flag that as an attack. We'll say, okay, that's an attack. So how are we going to do that? If we could only find in the line failed password, we'd be set, wouldn't we? Well, in fact, there's another string method called find. If failed password in line, well, how about we only display the lines that have failed passwords? All right, so this condition here, failed password in line, will be true only if failed password appears in that line. Let's see how that works. Kill this now. We look, and every line we're reading has failed password in it. That's good. Okay, so what we've done here is, okay, so we want to get the information out of this line, right? That's the next thing that we need to do. But this is a pretty long video anyway, so we're going to defer that to step 4.